What's up? It's your boy Karceno here, and let's go ahead and address the situation at hand. Y'all wanted me to do a hood story. As you can see, I'm exhausted from all this work and stuff I've been doing, but I said let me drop one for you because you guys have been waiting very patiently. I think we're actually on number 75 or 76. I don't know. I'll find out and then I'll put the numbers to it. But let's go into it. If you're from the city of Chicago, this one is for you. Okay, Argyle Garden. The Gardens. So if you're from the Gardens, you know, Tim Hardaway from over there, one of the famous people from the Gardens. Um, you know, his basketball tournaments every year. And there used to be the picnic every summer. But now we're looking at a situation where things had changed. Or were starting to change in the 90s. In the 90s, you know, people was wearing damaged jeans. In 92, used, damaged, everything. Karceno. Then it was like a little shift from 92 to 96. And in 96, you start seeing a whole new wave of a difference in the shift of balance. We kind of got introduced to a new gang in our area. And the new gang was called the Four Corner Hustlers. And the Four Corner Hustlers basically came in and rivaled the Gangster Disciples in the areas. So now you have a situation where a lot of people weren't comfortable with the scenario. So, excuse me while I'm checking my email. But the scenario started to change. And what I mean by the scenarios changing, things started to do one of these numbers. Because the drug game was starting to become king. And certain blocks was running with it. You know what I'm saying? So when they had the foes over there from block whatever, you know, I got family members on block 17. So they running with it. So the youngsters are now, instead of selling weed, they selling high-end drugs and they're making big money. And because of that fact, you got different scenarios taking place. You have this guy over here, now he's balling out with the leather coats. And this guy here got a leather coat. They all got the gold chains. Had to have a herringbone back then. If you ain't had a herringbone, you wasn't balling. So everybody over there basically went to Carver. My girl transferred from Carver, so I no longer had to go and see her in Carver. I had just gotten basically my first car, and I was going over to the Gardens to see her because she lived there but went to Carver, but then she ended up transferring, going to the school I used to go to when she moved. So I no longer had to visit over there. So it was quite an amusing situation that was happening out there. But here's where the problem ensues. People, when they getting a lot of money, they getting the Mark 8s, driving around in a Mark 8, parking the Mark 8 up, posing with all this money, and they flashing. They drawing a lot of attention to themselves from other areas. But they were smart about how they were doing their business activities, because even though they'll do that and flash, they knew who to work with, who not to work with. They would only sell to people they knew. They were no new dudes. They kept cops trying to send, you know, officers in there like they were hypes, and they were like, man, get out of here, officer. You know, they were on it. They knew everything in their neighborhood. They were like, we only dealing with people in our neighborhood. Don't do nothing else. So they was making their money. And all of a sudden, things went awry. Meaning that while everybody was looking one way, another thing was happening. One of their teenage workers was up at high school. You know, he's like 17. He's balling, got money he shouldn't have, got on hair and bones, got the big rings on, the dollar sign money. You know, I had one of those rings, but didn't come from serving. But he had all this stuff flashy, kept going to school. The girls like all over him. And at this school, Carver, they had what they call teacher's aides. I still don't know what a teacher aide does. I like, what do they do? They just in the hall. She used to go to the school. They graduated. They couldn't get a job nowhere, and they used to be the cool people in high school. Now they go back to the high school, and the high school give them a job, and they basically just watch the halls or what. I don't know. But the teacher aide was there, and she was like in her 20s, bad, stacked. So he and her would always like sit down, have like lunch and stuff in the lunchroom, and she was all giggling and all this stuff. Come to find out, he was like serving to her, and he was serving to people in the school that had, you know, problems with drugs. He was supplying them, and boom, here you go, here you go, here you go, here you go. So now he's got more clientele, and he's able to move more product than these other guys in the neighborhood. So naturally, that's going to create competitive jealousy. Like, man, how he doing that? If he doing it, I'm telling you, he got somebody outside the hood. He doing something. But then the rumors start going around at the school that he's sleeping with the teacher's aide. And she's like, no, I wouldn't sleep with a student. I don't meet with a student outside of work. I don't know. We just sat down in the lunchroom. And they was like, school was like, well, no more of that lunch stuff. We don't need no more activity and this and that of y'all. So she's upset about what's going on. So all of a sudden, one of the girls he used to date was like, you screwing that teacher, and I saw her number in your phone, and this and that. And this is 96. And I'm like, I don't even think there was numbers in the phone, or I think numbers in the pager or something. I don't know. But this is like 96, it's like 96, 97, probably started 97. So I'm like, really? Cell phones was at the point where they was like the big block phone. So I'm like, where did she find the number? But anyway, she found a number from the teacher, and she went and told the school, like, I'm finna get her up out this school. So what they thought, the police thought, was an investigation of watching them to see was they had a case. Was there gonna be like students sleeping with teacher and she sleeping with minors and all that? They started off with that angle and said, oh, wait a minute, we got something else developing. By following him, they were going into the whole drug empire. She was being told stuff that she shouldn't have been told, the teacher's aide. And the teacher's aide is sitting there, you know, cooperating now with the police because they didn't put pressure on her. So she's getting all this information out this kid. And now you're in a situation where this kid is now in a bad spot because he don't even know what's happening. She know now because they got to her and they were like, look, you going to jail, you messing with a shorty, this and that. We already got you. Y'all met up at a hotel. We got you fired, basically. You want to keep your job? She was, that's the only thing I got. So now the teacher was busted. So she's about to lose her job. So she's cooperating with the law. And now she's trying to bring down the whole thing that's going on in the gardens. So now that they got the teacher's aide, and they probably don't even know this. People locked up probably don't even know what went down exactly. But that's why we taking names completely out of this thing. But what happened was they got him boxed in. He was like, oh, I got to go do something tonight. I got to go to his blah, 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 blah. And she was like, let me go with you. She never asked to go with him anywhere. She was like, you really want to ride with me? She was like, yeah, you know, let me spend more time with you hanging out because I can't spend time with you at school. So he was like, all right, cool. They go ride out there to a spot. They get raided. Boom. Through the investigation, they got names, addresses, everything from this one guy. He didn't voluntarily give it up. By them watching him, watching her, him at the payphones, him saying this and that, Huck snooping through his stuff, getting his numbers and all this stuff that he had through his phones. And they had those analog phones, got them all, portable cigarette lighter phone, plug up, portable, one you carry in your backpack, you charge it with the lighter. She had it all. She had all the phones. He was completely tapped. They got everything out of him. And in the end of the day, he ended up fleeing. Because once they caught like everybody, and they was like, oh, he fled. He went to Mississippi. And they called her, put her on trial. The biggest thing in the newspaper was like the Four Corner Hustlers, all of them, the leader, all of them. They broke down the whole thing. And then they was in there saying the dude snitched. I never saw the paperwork. Maybe they got to him. Maybe he did snitch. They say he's from Block 11, Block 10 maybe, but from what everybody else told me, he had fled to Mississippi. His family, like, they gonna kill you over here. You gotta go. And Block 10 was always in war with Block. See, it's crazy over there. A lot of blocks don't deal with each other. Well, back then they didn't. Block 10 always had a problem with Block with Block 14, always over some chicks fighting over stuff. And it was a whole nother mess behind that. But that's some petty stuff compared to this. But know that the blocks don't deal with each other all the way. And when this happened, it created more of a division between the blocks, because now the people on the block got to defend and fight for dude because he from their block. So they like, man, dude from our block, nah, he ain't do that. Dude going out there, man, we gonna let the dude get it straight, man. It's that chick. So, you know, everything get written off on the chick, and it's all good. And like, man, y'all trying to, man, it was that bruh. She did it. And y'all ain't talking about her. So naturally, the teacher aide couldn't work at that school no more. She couldn't work nowhere over there. Then you had people that's just, once they start picking them off, people start talking. They like, look, I was just this guy here, but yeah, I got a call from him. So when the trial started, they all got sandbagged. And they locked up to this day, you know, behind that. So they had a good operation, good run, destroyed from within. One mistake can cause, it's a domino effect. Everything falls down. That's a hood story, number 75. I'm out. Peace to the gardens, too. Everybody at Carl.